From the largest and most bizarre landscape on the planet to a treacherous, poisonous cave in Romania, here are the most mysterious lost worlds on Earth. Number 10. Doong Cave. Doong Cave in Vietnam is a whole world in itself. It's the biggest cave on the planet. It was only discovered in 2013, and it only opened to the public in 2019. It actually contains an entire underground rainforest, a river, and its own sort of atmosphere. The cave is about 3 million years old and was carved out of the rock by the mighty Rao Tuong River, forming a massive tunnel beneath the mountains above. There are cave pearls the size of baseballs and stalagmites that are as large as tall buildings hanging from the cave ceiling. This literally looks like something from an alien planet. It's absolutely boggling. The main passage of the cave is over 3 miles long, with some sections that reach almost 700 feet tall and around 600 feet wide. The cave is also home to all kinds of unique organisms. From its entrance, you can witness clouds billowing outwards and hear the sound of a raging river within. Number 9. The Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is the deepest known part of the ocean, and it's located in the Western Pacific. This is an entire lost world of darkness and strange sea monsters. Most estimates place its deepest depth at around 36,000 feet. However, this has not been confirmed. The Mariana Trench was first found by explorers using ropes and lead weights, lowering them down to the seabed, but more accurate readings were later taken using sonar. Even today, the trench is widely unexplored and mostly unknown. To put some perspective on how deep and mysterious this lost world is, the maximum depth of a recreational scuba diver is about 131 feet. The maximum depth a blue whale can dive is about 1,640 feet. The maximum depth that sunlight can reach is around 3,200 feet. The height of Mount Everest, if inverted beneath the ocean, is only 29,000 feet. What's really exciting about this deep hole in the ocean is that we still don't know what lives down there. It's probably mostly squid and weird fish that don't have eyes. But it's simply too big and too widely unexplored for us to know the extent of ocean life living in the Mariana Trench. Number 8. Sima Humboldt. You might think an enormous sinkhole in the middle of the forest is no big deal, but Sima Humboldt, located in Venezuela, is a mysterious world full of strange creatures and strange vegetation. The sinkhole is unusual because it's ridiculously huge and ridiculously deep. It was first spotted by a pilot flying overhead in 1961 and was later descended for the first time in 1974. It was then explored in 1976, and explorers figured out that this random pit in the middle of the forest has a depth of about 1,000 feet, with a maximum width of 1,150 feet. What's really strange is that there is almost no information on this giant hole available. Because of its extremely isolated location, it's not exactly a popular spot for exploring, but that doesn't stop it from being any more amazing. It's located at the top of a plateau, and when flying overhead, it looks like a giant wormhole in the middle of the earth. While it's been explored a little bit, researchers still don't know the extent of what kind of life is thriving down at the bottom of the giant pit. What do you think might be down there? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you're new here. Number 7. MELVILLE Range. The MELVILLE Range is a completely lost world full of mystery. This place is located in northeastern Australia, and it's a place where not many humans had ventured out to. Because of its isolation and bizarre geological features, it feels like arriving on another planet. It's a rainforest littered with giant stones and rocks, and rich in biodiversity. In fact, researchers continuously find new and bizarre species while exploring the MELVILLE Range. The area is covered in mist, and it's actually been cut off from the rest of the world for millions of years because it's surrounded by giant chunks of granite that are nearly impassable. But recently, more and more discoveries have been happening in this remote environment. Specifically, Live Science reports that scientists have found new species of frogs and geckos. The new species of gecko is particularly exciting. It's a leaf-tailed gecko that is alarmingly large. The gecko they found measures 8 inches in length and has extremely camouflageable skin that allows it to hide on trees and rocks while it waits to ambush insects and spiders when they pass by. What's really unique about this gecko is its huge eyes, which it uses to see deep inside the cracks of boulders as it hunts. It also has unusually long legs that have adapted well for climbing on the rocks that litter the area. Basically, this lost world is home to a bunch of weird, creepy, crawly critters. Number 6. Palawan Highlands. The Palawan Highlands in the Philippines is an incredible world, far removed from civilization and absolutely filled with strange plant life and bizarre creatures. It's totally secluded with very few visitors, and this has allowed life to take on some pretty bizarre forms. For example, a new species of carnivorous plant was just recently found in the Palawan Highlands of the central Philippines. While we've all heard of Venus flytraps, these particular pitcher plants are so huge and so vicious that they can literally catch rats inside of them and eat them. You know this is a lost world when there are plants big enough to eat rodents. As reported by the BBC, the botanists who discovered the plant are naming it after the famous natural history broadcaster David Attenborough, whose voice you would undoubtedly recognize if you heard it. Not only are the Palawan Highlands mysterious and full of weird creatures, but the region is one of the most spectacular places on Earth. It's simply gorgeous and totally wild. Number 5. BOSAVI Crater. Deep in Papua New Guinea is the BOSAVI Crater. This place is home to all kinds of crazy wildlife, but what makes it such an amazing lost world is that it's so remote that it's almost unbelievable scientists have found their way there. Basically, this crater is an extinct volcano filled with a tropical jungle. Because of how huge the crater is, the jungle within is basically segregated from the jungle on the outside. This has allowed evolution to take its own unique course. Kind of like at the Galapagos Islands, or kind of like how all the wildlife in Australia is vastly different from the other continents. This place is so remote that only a handful of scientists have managed to get inside of the crater. You have to take a helicopter to the nearest village and then trek for days and days through the jungle. This place is so out there that the villagers near the crater only encountered their first Westerner in the 1950s. That means they've been cut off from civilization, television, and every other technological thing until literally almost just right now. They didn't even have a cash economy. In fact, this is such a lost world that the elders of the village grew up using stone tools and were astounded when the first metal axe arrived in the village. In any case, the BOSAVI Crater is a truly unexplored region full of untold secrets. It's one of the last wild and unexplored regions on Earth. But according to an article from The Guardian, recent expeditions have managed to find 16 new types of frogs, 3 new types of fish, and a giant rat living in the crater. Who knows what they'll find next? Number 4. MOVILE Cave. The MOVILE Cave is also known as Romania's Poison Cave. It's been cut off from the rest of the world for millions of years. What makes this cave extraordinary is that the air inside is thick with harmful gases. And yet, despite this, the cave is home to a whole smorgasbord of weird animals. It all starts in a field in the south of Romania. The field looks pretty normal, except that underneath the surface is a poisonous cave that has been isolated for 5.5 million years. Despite there being no light inside the cave and an atmosphere of pure poison, it's crawling with unique spiders, scorpions, centipedes, and other insects never before witnessed by humans. The cave was first discovered back in 1986, and one unfortunate scientist was the first to make the dangerous descent. Since then, the cave has basically been completely sealed off. There have been fewer than 100 people gone down into this lost world. Not only is the journey into the cave super dangerous, but it's completely black and very hot. Then, when you get inside the cave, there's a pool of basically sulfur water that smells like rotting eggs and produces hydrogen sulfide. Combined with the low oxygen down there, a person can only survive about 5 hours before their kidneys literally fail and they die. According to the BBC, the only way to explore the remaining parts of the cave is to literally dive into the poison lake and then navigate through the underwater passages. Suffice it to say, people aren't really lining up to explore this place. It might be better off sealed off for another few million years. Number 3. Lake Vostok. Lake Vostok is another bizarre subterranean world that has been isolated on its own for millions of years. This lake is located under Antarctica, and it's been covered in ice for at least 15 million years. It's the largest subglacial lake in the world, buried under about 2 miles of ice. And it's been cut off from light and the atmosphere, making it not only an extreme environment, but also home to some pretty extreme life forms. To put it in perspective, Lake Vostok is about the same size as Lake Ontario. It's 143 miles long, 31 miles wide, and about 2,600 feet deep. It's very close to the South Pole, and it was discovered in 1996 using special radar experiments. The fascinating part is that even though this world is self-contained under the ice with no air and no light, there is still life thriving. Researchers in the 1990s discovered microbes, and that suggests that there's a unique ecosystem inside the subglacial lake. According to Live Science, the type of life currently living in Lake Vostok could be very similar to the single-celled creatures potentially living on the Moon, on other planets, and even on Jupiter's Europa. Number 2. Mount Roraima. Welcome to the floating island of Mount Roraima in Venezuela. This is the most picturesque location you will ever see in your life. It's basically a land island almost 8,000 feet above the forest floor. It's so tall that it appears to be an isolated chunk of land floating in the clouds. It actually looks like something from a sci-fi movie, but it's not. It's definitely real. It's a natural wonder surrounded by 3 different countries. Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana each intersect the massive cliff shelves. Every single side of the plateau is a sheer drop into the forest below. You'd actually have to be Spider-Man to try and climb vertically up to the top of this natural wonder. There is a rough path to get up there, but it's going to take 2 full days to hike it, and it's definitely not a breeze. This mountain has long been significant to the indigenous people in the area and is featured often in their myths and legends. The remote landscape was even the inspiration for the dino-infested lands of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's epic novel The Lost World. Number 1. The Danakil Depression. While not necessarily a lost world, the Danakil Depression in northern Ethiopia is definitely the most extreme place on Earth. It's one of the most isolated, one of the hottest, one of the driest, and one of the lowest places on the planet. This sun-scorched wasteland is home to basically nobody. It's located 410 feet below sea level, and it only receives about 100 millimeters of rainfall each year. It's also home to a powerful volcano and all kinds of horrifying geological phenomena, such as the bubbling lava lakes, the hydrothermal fields, and the Great Salt Pans. This entire region is death on Earth. This is mostly because the Danakil Depression is a place where 3 tectonic plates join. This has caused a significant amount of chaos on the surface of the Earth. But there may be more to this place than just acid and fire being belched out of the rocks. According to the BBC, this is the exact region in which the oldest hominin fossil was discovered. The fossil is named Lucy, and she's 3.2 million years old. That means that several million years ago, this region could have been home to some of the earliest humans in the history of the planet. But for now, the Danakil Depression is a lost world where almost nothing lives and almost no one wants to go. Which of these incredible lost worlds would you love to explore? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest videos. See you again soon.